www.arnstocktrade.com and buys and sells stocks, subscribes for treasury bills and government bonds, views all his portfolio at a glance, stays on top of.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to
executes his trading fast. And he does these and more, all by himself.
the Business Express.
That's what makes Josh the coolest guy. Won't you rather be like Josh? Get on board. Log on to www.arnstocktrade.com and make money now.
Or download the ARN Stock Trade app on your mobile app store.
With critical focus on the Nigerian economy, we see the bigger picture. Business Express on Smooth 98.1.
Business Express on Smooth 98.1. Brought to you by ARN. Local and global market opportunities safely at your fingertips.
All right, going live. Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. I am Ayo Mairo-Ese. It is time for today's edition of Business Express 981. And joining me today, I have Rotus. Good morning, Rotus. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning to Lagos and beyond. Hope everybody.
Excellent. We're doing good. We're doing very well. Thank you. If you'd like to join the conversation, we're streaming live on YouTube. YouTube channel is youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. You could also send us a message on WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. That's 0809 444 0981. Today we're going to be doing hopefully a capital market review with ARM Securities, and we have Oise, hopefully Oise Ajayi joining us in a moment. Also, Rotus, I think we are also looking at the CBN investigating more companies over suspected forex infractions, if time permits. Yeah, so Oise Ajayi is here. Good morning, Oise. Good to have you on the show.
Also, your mic is on mute.
Hello.
Good morning. It's great to be on the show this morning. Hi, good morning.
Excellent. Brilliant.
Fantastic.
All right, so we're going to be reviewing the capital markets with Oise this morning. And Oise is team lead of Equities Research at ARM Securities. Welcome again, Oise. All right.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff. So the market was up yesterday, I think about 8 basis points or so. Last week, the market was down. That's the NGX, talking about the stock market now. How would you describe sentiment on the market so far?
So far, we've seen top-to-top movements in the market. You can tell, investors are really just buying and, selling without making any real significant gains in the market. Sentiment is still the same as it was a few weeks back. Nothing is really driving the market. The macros are still the same. Yes, we received inflation numbers which showed some slight improvements, but all around the real issues that have plagued the market are still there, and that's why we're currently seeing 8 basis points gain, 5 basis points loss, 1% gain, 1% loss, and the sentiment that we're currently seeing, we expect it to even remain in the market for a while going forward, because really the real drivers of the market are absent. Foreign investors are really not encouraging to put in money into the market. Domestic investors are really just trying to see if many of them can recover some of the losses which they have made, and that's one of the primary reasons for the gains and losses we've been seeing so far.
Great stuff. So is there a bargain hunting opportunity here? Are there any equities, any stocks that you like so far?
There was a bargain hunting activities and opportunities in the market. It just depends on what kind of trader you are. You an active trader looking to make some quick gains, or are you looking to play the long game? Whichever way you decide, there would always be stock picks for you to latch onto. Personally, financial services really takes the cake for me. In all the years which we've seen the market perform, you sort of seen financial services always come out on top, regardless of what macro situations are. We've seen many consumer goods companies take a huge beating, particularly in the last 12 months. And, the current pandemic situation really hasn't helped their case any better. So financial services really takes the cake for me. The expectation is that they will continue to, outperform. They will continue to grow. Your dividends are sort of guaranteed to a reasonable extent for certain companies. So financial services really takes the cake from banking, preferably.
Okay, great. And I'm glad you mentioned banking, because we had a question from one of our viewers at the tail end of yesterday's show asking about the halting of trading of GTB shares. Can you help us out with why that happened? I think that happened on Friday.
Yeah, so I think the news of the change of the organization structure to adopt a holdco structure is not new. So it has been around for a minute now. And I remember at the full year earnings call, the MD at the time said, they were going to maintain the holdco structure for at least 6 months this year. We're kicking into July in a few days, and then it's no surprise that we're seeing, active movement, or we're seeing, a lot of work being put into the completion of that process. So yes, the suspension, initially, when the news came about, everyone was wondering, why is GT Bank suspended up until, we all dug into the memo and then realized, this was kind of expected. The structure is going to take place, or the structure is coming alive. And it's only right that, a trading is suspended for them to finalize everything that needs to be done. As it stands, it's safe to say there are no worries, there are no challenges, there are no issues with the company. Investors need not fret. It's just an organizational or a structural change in the organization. And in a few days, I expect, trading to resume on the stock again.
Great stuff. So we've got other banks that have a holdco structure, other financial services. Does this make GTB more attractive in the long term? How do you see the holdco playing out for them?
Yes, in the long term, it makes them a whole lot more attractive. Over the last couple of years, one could argue that they had reached a mature stage, and there was only a level of growth they could attain organically. So it was either they acquired other businesses or other banks, maybe in Nigeria and other countries, or they adopted a holdco structure which would afford them other branches in the financial services sector, which they have currently done. So their profit streams or the revenue streams are more diversified now. They can do, they can carry out a whole lot more activity. So yes, the ball is really in their court now. The world is really their oyster now. Prior to adopting the structure, they were, second best performing bank in terms of profits. But of course, operational efficiency wise, they were number one. And then with this structure, you might expect to see some slight changes, both positive and negative, as the entire integration process takes place. But all in all, this is a very, very good move for the bank, and we expect significant positives in the near to medium term.
Great stuff. Thank you. I want to move to SMEs.
Yeah,
we talked about, Ayo and I talked about this yesterday, the fact that...
Rotus, just before you talk about it, just to ask if some questions from WhatsApp, or one question. Frank says, talking about GT Bank share suspension, when will Segun's tenure elapse? So that's a question for you, Oise.
Sure, can you take that again?
Okay, it says, talking about GT Bank's share suspension, when will Segun, that's Segun Agbaje, their MD, when will his tenure elapse? And then we have another comment here saying, please, what other businesses will GT Bank be able to do? Okay, so I think from what I've come across, Segun's tenure, Mr. Agbaje's tenure is supposed to elapse by this year. And then from what we've gathered from their management calls, when this tenure elapses, he'll be moving to the holdco structure, he'll be holding another position in the holdco structure, while someone else takes over from the bank, or takes over, the MD position of the bank. And then there has been a process in the works for a while now to ensure a smooth transition in that regard. So there's also nothing to worry about.
Other businesses they'll be looking into, from what has been discussed, we're looking at asset management, we're looking at maybe insurance, maybe pensions as well. And of course, there's going to be a payment, a very strong payments platform as well. So those are some of the things they'll be delving into going forward.
Thank you.
All right.
So
Thank
much,
you.
Oise. MSME. So today is when the MSME week kicks off. I think it's a MSME clinic in Jigawa. I mean, to you, Oise, what are the most pressing issues facing MSMEs in Nigeria?
For MSMEs, I mean, it's clear a lot of these companies or a lot of these institutions firstly require funding, which can be extremely difficult to get. But I think ultimately the most pressing issue which many have faced in the last couple of years will be political and regulatory issues in the sense that over the last couple of years, we've seen regulatory or political pronouncements which have sort of, put an end to several businesses in the country. And then, while the government is, taking steps to ensure, MSMEs come on board here and there, I mean, ease of doing business is still not at its best. And then, I mean, if anyone is doing any analysis on setting up any business now, I think the political and the regulatory issues will take the cake beyond funding, beyond operational tendencies, beyond the operational structure they plan to maintain. A major thing they'll be concerned about will be the political and regulatory issues. And it is our hope that, these MSMEs or whatever MSMEs will be coming up or be stemming up from the program in Jigawa today and across board will, sort of not face many of these issues, even though that might be extremely difficult, to carry out. But it is the hope that they wouldn't face many of these issues that could easily put them out of business. But I mean, the government has always hammered on MSMEs, or the importance of MSMEs in the domestic economy. We've seen it play out over the years, and then of course we can see that they need a lot of support, particularly on the government side of things. And then it would be great, if the government who is organizing this program, throws their full weight behind them and ensures that whatever businesses stem up or stem from the program today, they are sort of insulated. If not just insulated, there are no regulatory pronouncements that could easily put them out of business. I mean, the government is currently involved. The government should, take time out to review all the businesses that could possibly come up from this program and then see where, they might have some issues going forward, and see how they can work with these institutions, these organizations, to ensure that when there are regulatory pronouncements, their businesses are not shut down completely, or their means of livelihood are not taken away completely.
All right. Thank you, Oise. Let me take a few comments from WhatsApp. Frank says, does it make sense to hold the payment business under the holdco structure? Will you get the due valuation as a fintech company under such a structure? So please hold that question. And then D from Alausa says, are holdco structures strategies for bank CEOs to keep on holding on to power, since the holdcos control the banks ultimately? And then Kenneth is saying that he's surprised that you picked regulatory and political issues ahead of power for MSMEs. I think we talked about power yesterday. And then Benga Kamu says, oh, Jigawa, that is where someone went to inspect the flag with the highest pole in Nigeria. And
that's
Otunuga,
true.
Yeah.
That's
Otunuga
true.
says,
I saw that in the newspaper. Benga catches everything. He catches
every single thing. Otunuga says, still on this, so that you answer all together, Oise, does the Code of Corporate Governance allow a retired MD to have anything to do with the institution within 5 years of his or her retirement after serving the maximum 10 years permitted by the code? So I think this is a similar question, similar trend for all the questions, wanting to know the position of the MD. Do you think that's why perhaps an incentive for them to move to holdco?
Okay,
I'll start for GTBO. Just let me put that out there.
I mean, everyone is interested. Everyone wants to know what you're going to do next. So it's only understandable. So on the first question on the valuation, I mean, the company is sort of just coming up or just coming into play. It would only be right that they remain under the holdco structure, at least for now, to get the full backing of the group. I mean, it's going to be a fresh business. There needs to be a backing from the group. I mean, your support or individual customer support will also be driven strongly on, knowing in the back of customers' minds that this is, GT Bank has their full weight behind this, or GT Group has their full weight behind this. So it's only right on the valuation bit of things. Sure, there will be adequate measures or adequate ways to carry out or to value this payment company as a fintech, whether as an individual or as part of the group. On whether or not Mr. Ajayi is trying to hold on to power decision, or it's beyond whatever I'm going to say. The structure is there. There is no regulation that says it cannot move from the bank to the holdco structure. If there was, they would not be carrying out such activity. So it's not like he's trying to hold on to power. I mean, he has led the bank up onto this point. He has done an extremely good job bringing the bank up onto this point, and then finalizing the holdco process. The board is clearly behind him, in leading the holdco group. So, I mean, it's only fair, it's only right that that carries on like that, smooth transition of power, and the man knows the business best.
All right. Okay.
Would that be all?
Yes, that's all.
Run out of time.
Yes, we run out of time, but
we need a 30-minute show.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oise. Fantastic there, and thank you as well as always, Rotus. Oise is team lead Equities Research at ARM Securities. Thank you all so much for being a part of the conversation, for your questions. I hope I trust it's been very enlightening for a number of people who wanted to just understand this new structure. We're back tomorrow morning, same time for Business Express 981, and it's at 6:30 a.m. to 6:45. Have a good day. In a few minutes, we'll be speaking on the biggest news stories around Nigeria during Freshly Pressed 981. I'll be giving or reading out the headlines at 7 a.m. for those who might want to catch up on that ahead of the show at 7:30. This is Smooth 98.1.
Business Express on Smooth 98.1. Brought to you by ARA.
Thank you very much and have a lovely day. Thanks everyone for watching and participating. I'll see you at 7.